friends, and welcome to episode 177 of The Rewind, a podcast dedicated to keeping its listeners on the cutting edge of the upcoming MMORPG, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. We've been thankful, we've exchanged gifts, and now it's time for Draq and I to thank you for following us on this epic 2024 journey, and we look forward to sharing our experiences in 2025. If you like what we do here and would like to help fund our 2025, please take a look at our Patreon in the link below, as well as using Super Chats or joining our YouTube channel. There's also an option to simply click and like the subscribe button to help move along the algorithm. We may have missed our Patreon goal this year, but we're just going to roll it into next year. So if you enjoy top fives or being a part of our weekly adventure story that's written specifically for our party, then join today. Lastly, we are off till mid-January, so please go back and revisit the old episodes if you are missing us in the coming weeks. We promise we will have a fresh episode to you on the 18th of the new year. Now, on with the show.
The blizzard howled around the party as they stood atop Frostpike Summit, their gliders unfurled like the winds of a mystical creature. Below, the vast expanse of the frozen valley awaited. "Remember!" Annoying Llama shouted, his voice barely cutting through the wind. "Steer with your weight, not your panic!" Ziplocs adjusted the straps on his glider with practiced ease. "With words of wisdom, Llama," he quipped. "Let's see if they hold when we hit the downdraft." Anton Duviditis traced a glyph in the air, its soft glow spreading warmth through the groove. "This ward should stabilize us for a short while." "But no heroic screech." The Scar Bard grinned toothily. "Define heroics." With a nod from Archbishop, the first to leap, the party launched themselves into the void. The icy air rushed past as they soared, snow-capped peaks blurring below. Churro-Dude, his small frame remarkably agile, unleashed a summon air sprite to guide their descent. A sudden gust spun Ziplocs off course, sending him careening towards the jagged ridge. Screech banked hard, his gliders slicing through the air as he sang an inspiring tune. The melody bolstered Ziploc's control just in time, avoiding disaster. As they landed in the valley, breathless and exhilarated, Anton smirked. "Next time, let's try hot air balloons."
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
We had some stuff happen. It's been a good Christmas season, but also stuff has been happening.
It was Christmas? When did that happen?
all we've been doing is pumping out Pantheon content.
Yeah, I just play Pantheon. There is no Christmas. There is no real life. It's just Pantheon.
I put my 25 kids on hold, and we've been grinding.
It's good that your 25 accounts are all level 15 now.
Listen, I'm already selling gold. If you would like to... Oh, never mind.
Oh, that's terrible. Your kids are your gold farmers.
Well, we may not be serious, but Sav is very serious. She's serious about guild names and player names. Do not test her. Dymlos, have you seen anybody that has a reportable name?
Well, luckily we play on a server that is full of decent people that don't name their characters Legolas or Drizzt. So no, I have not had to report anybody yet.
I haven't had to report anybody. I've seen people with names that probably don't follow the terms of service, but nothing that's like, oh yeah, that's got to go down, or like, oh, that's really like super offensive. Like I haven't seen anything that's egregious.
Yeah. Again, we play on a server that's pretty much nice people. So if you're a nice person and you don't want to see that BS, come to Stormona with us. We'll be waiting.
Well done, Stormona. Also, the Steam numbers continue to climb. We are now over 3,400 concurrent Steam players on Steam. pretty
That's
amazing.
so awesome. I'm so proud of VR for that. And that just doesn't include us. Like, we're not a part of that equation, which is great.
In the number. We're not at all.
I'm so happy for that. Like, that couldn't be better.
Also, server cloning / sharding / instancing, whatever you want to call that, seems to have worked. Stormona is now down to 1 server, and everything is great.
Yep, we had enough camps for our new people, and now it's down to 1. Now that we're a little spread out and can kind of fight over the 6 zones rather than just Wild's End and Throne Fast for everybody while we are getting our levels under us. So no, this has been great, and I know some servers are still sharded. There's huge servers out there that, especially like Black Moon, who is going to be sharded for. You probably just need to split into multiple servers, honestly, because I don't know why you wouldn't want to just all play together. Like, why you wouldn't want to be all on the same server, but yeah, it is what it is on that. No, it's been great. The plan worked. EA worked. The whole plan worked from top to bottom. Like I said, I'm just so proud of VR.
Great success. Well, one tiny little bit of a downer. Dude, Wild's End is not as popular as Thronefast. And
yeah,
that's just not as fun because Wild's End is so cool and I love it.
It is the best. I'm so glad we are there and haven't even thought about Thronefast until Stupid Manor.
Very recently.
Yeah.
Yes. I think there are some reasons for it. There are less quests.
Right.
It's definitely more completed and polished.
Right.
It's 100% easier to pug. So if you don't have a static group and you need to find people to group with, like, unfortunately, Thronefast is the place to go. And also, there's just a really super developed leveling path, right? You go spiders, you go manor, you go fort, you go, all the way into Halnir's. Like, it's known. It's known exactly how to level in Thronefast.
That's why I'm glad we are in Wild's End. And it's super beautiful. And it's stuff that no one's ever seen before. Mobs, items, everything. We don't know where anything's at, and it's wonderful.
I know. My inner leveler and inner, hardcore player is like, oh, we're wasting all this time trying to figure out where we're supposed to be going. And then
MMOs have ruined us. We can't be thinking like that.
I snap back into place. I'm like, wait a minute. This is the fun. This is the part that's supposed to be exciting.
And I think that's why there's not a huge, at least on our server, I think we saw that it's like around 20-ish is the max level. I think people are actually doing that. They're taking their time. They're enjoying the ride. So we just can't blast to 40 and be done. Like, that sounds so boring. And so I can't wait to explore the other 2 zones, the plains and all that, and just take our time with it.
Could be super fun. Well, I don't know if you've heard, but we're kind of a big deal.
What?
Yeah. Last night we had a Pantheon end of the year stream. It involved Nathan Napalm, Savanya, Redbeard Flynn made an appearance, and we had Orin and Kylaris. It was amazing.
Yeah, all those people are big deals, but we are definitely not big deals.
Listen, when we surround ourselves with people
that are big deals, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's right.
We become a big deal. This is the secret to how Draq works. I don't know if you've noticed that. I just surround myself, well, except for you.
Yeah, exactly.
With people that are more famous than
your first mistake. Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun last night, and we are recording on Friday, so this actually did happen last night. Holidays are throwing our recording times through a loop, but go back and watch this if you didn't see it. A lot of them had great opinions. It's good to hear from Savanya. She's awesome. Everyone coming together, talking about all the great things that happened in 2024, and there were a lot. So yeah, definitely go back and watch it.
We don't have favorites at Static Group Live, but if we did, Savanya might be our favorite.
Well, she's the only one that likes us over at VR, so.
Go watch it. It's on the YouTube. Have fun. Also, as Dymlos has said, we are out until the 18th. That will be the next episode of The Rewind. I am going on an electronics fast. There will be no electronics. Cold turkey, I'm going, Dymlos. Do you think I can make it?
I know you can make it, but I would be dead.
Doing the
Ugh.
DTs.
Oh my goodness. I remember the power went out here several years back for like 3 days, and I was going nuts. No internet, no power, just sitting in my hot house without air conditioning. It was miserable. And I was living with a buddy at the time, so we had like people over and we had like little parties, but like it's hot and miserable and no one's happy and there's no electronics. We can't just like watch a movie or something. It was terrible. Real people are terrible. That's why I play MMOs.
Hey, hey, Joppa, you get me so excited about classes and abilities. When you say you're someone, I'll come and friends for me. Hey, Joppa, I hoped your words were pure gold. My broken heart is my fault, so now I carry around an extra shaker of salt. Hey, Joppa.
Joppa had 8 hours of streaming on the holiday week. Isn't that crazy?
He is a machine. Like he's just, I don't know how he survived this push to EA, any of them for that matter, not just Joppa. You can definitely tell in Joppa's beard that it took a toll on him. You could just, I mean, you can literally go back to a stream of his 3 months ago and clearly see how much more gray is in his beard. It was definitely a stressful time. So thank you, Joppa, for putting that tax on your body for us. You know, I know that it probably added a few years, but we appreciate it. You're still young. Don't worry. There's always Just for Men beard.
Also, thank you, Joppa's wife. Your wife is more understanding than my wife. Like, wow, like she's an amazing woman. So shout out to Joppa's wife.
Absolutely. Good family all around to let him be able to do that. And he does a lot of flexing too. Like, and that we learned earlier in the year that he took a big heat for, like doing EQ guesser and stuff like that. But that's his flex time, right? So he probably works at 4 a.m. and then has some family time in the afternoon and evenings, and then goes back at midnight or something like that. He's always on. And when he's not on, he's still on.
Crazy. Well, some of the stuff he did talk about, he's specifically working with classes, skills, and specifically working with mob disparity. So like that, what mob disparity means is when you're killing mobs that are white and orange and it feels real good, but when you kill mobs that are blue and light blue, it feels real bad. Like you feel like that the bar's not moving at all. So he's trying to get to the bottom of that. He's trying to figure that out.
Good. We need that. Things should be moving, even if you're killing blues, especially since the whole goal is to be killing blues through yellows, right? Like if that's the sweet spot, we need to make sure we're feeling that.
We've never really had a time where blues were the way to go. It's almost always been try to kill things that are way conned above what you are. It's always like reds and oranges and yellows, right?
Yeah, it's never really been even cons, which I think is where they want it, but it's always been yellow to red, as high as possible to get the best XP. But hopefully we tune that in and get it locked in and go forward with that, and even cons become the way to go.
Joppa also talked about unlocking the skill bars. So that would be the 3 skill bars that we have, and just having one limited action set that you could put any skills, any spells, doesn't matter what it is. This is not for certain. Yeah. This is something that they're thinking about. This is something that they may test, but it's definitely something that's on their radar. Personally, I think this is a horrible idea.
Yeah, get this out.
One, because they developed all their skills for having 2 bars. We'll leave the combat stuff out for the second, but they weren't. It wasn't designed to be, everything on 1 bar, and now they're just going to squish it onto 1 bar. I think that's going to have a lot of problems, and is going to encourage boxing, because it's just going to make boxing that much easier if you're going to load up all your buffs on 1 bar.
Exactly.
Also, more importantly than that is advanced tactics. People are not using these advanced tactics in pug groups at all. right? And
Don't even know what they are.
we are doing our part to educate the public about how to do that. Every pug group I'm in, I'm like, hey, can we open the gap? Can we expose some things? Like we need to get this going. This makes a huge difference in combat. But if you don't force people to have that on their bar and you give them the option to do something else, it's going to be even a bigger struggle to get people to use that system. And I just think that that's a bad plan.
Yeah, there's no way. And even then, the meta is going to become have the spells on your bar and not the opening and closing of gaps and things like that. So if we're limited to just our best 10 things, I don't know if opening and closing the gap makes the top 10 list, right? I need my spells. I need my buffs. So I don't know. It's really not a good idea. I think where we're at right now is good. And the people that are upset are just need to get over it because the game was designed this way. We're not just tweaking the game for you. We're all playing a game, so it's all even for everybody to play.
Absolutely. Sometimes the players are just wrong. I think this is an instance where that's happening. Joppa is also working on solo paths to 20. He's very concerned about the solo player. I think, I've kind of come full circle on this. At the beginning, I'm in my static group live bubble and I'm an elitist jerk. And I just think that people should only group and anybody that can't group should just be left out in the cold. But, after listening to Joppa and hearing him explain it to people get frustrated if they can't get in a group. And if you don't provide them something to do, some way to move forward on their own at a little bit slower pace than what you would be in a group, then they're not going to stick with the game. And having places to solo fills their time until they can get a group. And I think that if you approach it that way, then I'm totally on board with making these solo areas viable and making it okay to do.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't go back to one of those prior patches in pre-alpha where the soloing path was the best,
was the way
XP in the game.
Get out of my group because that's not as good.
I got to go solo because that's how I level so quickly is in the solo path. So as long as it doesn't hit that, as long as it is known that it is slower, you do need to have something because it does take a while to get a group. If you're just pugging it up, it could be an hour. Maybe even 2, depending on your class. Like you have to be ready for that. So having an option, and we're already seeing it. Like the patch just happened 2 days ago, and we are already seeing that mobs that were group mobs that are now solo mobs. And but do note that just because they're solo doesn't mean that they're easy. Yes, you can solo them. Yes, you can also die. And then you're really screwed because you've lost 5% of your experience. That it's already at a slower clip. So you need to make sure that you can handle whatever solo camp you're jumping into without dying, or it's just going to be a wash or net negative, even worse. So just be careful out there.
I always view soloing as something that it has to be safe, right? I'm not doing soloing where it's risky. Other people like to do that. Me, I'm like, no. Like if I'm out there to get experience, I'm out there to crush it in drops or experience lane, I'm grabbing a group.
Yeah, for sure. You need to be able to do that. But like I said, as long as, if you're waiting for it, so be it. That's just something that has to happen. If you go kill a couple blue mobs, solo mobs while you're waiting for your group to put together, great.
Oh, this one hurts a little bit, Dymlos. Joppa mentioned that there might not be any wipes, and his goal is for there to be no wipes until 1.0 release.
There is zero possibility of that happening. I don't care what Joppa says. Joppa, I love you, and I am the treasurer.
Why he doesn't like you.
It's true. As the treasurer of the Joppa Fangirl Club, I can assure you there's no way this is happening. I'm sorry, Joppa. You could say it all you want. You can hold your breath as long as you want. There's no way you're not wiping. I would be shocked We said that in pre-alpha too. Oh, we don't want to wipe here. We don't want to wipe here. And then, oh, whoopsie, we did something that we got to wipe for. It's inevitable. It's absolutely inevitable.
Yeah, I think you are absolutely correct. I think that it's just going to be a struggle for them to do that with as much basic stuff as they still have to add. I don't see how they're not going to wipe at least a couple of times. If they only wiped twice until
that's
release,
a win.
I think that would be amazing. Like
twice in 2 to 4 years. That's unbelievable.
That would be unbelievable.
If it's under double digits, I think that's a win.
Still a win. Absolutely. 100%. This is really good though. Joppa talked about 32 more traits being added to NPC mobs. And for those of you that don't know, traits are the little icons under the mobs that you should be reading before you pull them that give the mobs special properties that none of the other mobs have. So
get out of here, Draq. I'm not clicking. I'm not conning. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just pulling.
100%. Currently, there's 8 in the game, and there's 32 more coming. So this is
crazy.
Like resistant, where the mobs are super magic resistant, or the mobs are super armor resistant, or you can't crowd control the mobs, or whatever. There's 8 of them in the game right now, and there's 32 more coming.
That's great. This is one of the things that makes Pantheon what Pantheon is, right? Like we think about perception, we think about climbing in an MMO, and then also these traits. That's a huge part of it, and what make the gameplay different than just pulling a group of 3 mobs like I'm in WoW, maybe mezzing 1, killing the other 2. That's great. That's every MMO. But when they throw you a little cog in there, a little wrench in the cog system, and 1 can't be mezzed, and you need to make an adjustment. We just found that out yesterday. We had to run.
Dude.
We pulled 2. Neither of them could be mezzed. We couldn't handle 2. We had to run. That was that.
The not being able to mezz things trait is the biggest wrench in the cog that there is. Like
without a doubt.
That one definitely throws you for a loop.
But the one where we miss a bunch of times, where they're more dodgy than the rest of them, or the ones that are magic resistant. It's so fun, especially in a dungeon like Halnir. When you come across one of those traded mobs, it's so fun. It just adds such a huge element to the gameplay that I love.
Or the ones that buff the mob's damage when you cast fire in it. Those are super fun if you haven't hit those yet.
Good luck. See you in Halnir.
Joppa also spent some time and he watched Lazy Peon's video, which was a cut up of his stream and his thoughts on Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Now, Lazy Peon is kind of an Ashes of Creation guy. Like, he is huge into that. But he tried out Pantheon, and
good.
Lazy Peon, for the most part, I think he thought it was pretty good. And he said things like, well, for the people that want this is going to be good. And he sees a place for this game in the MMO genre. So Joppa thought that Lazy Peon's review was pretty good, pretty fair. The only thing that Lazy Peon was super hard about was the UI, which I can kind of agree with him a little bit. I think the UI is, while super easy to move around and super configurable, it's not the best looking UI that has been in an MMO.
Well, they've done one pass, and it was just because the old UI, not what it is right now, was so much worse. So, this is just a lot cleaner version of what we had before. They haven't done anything with it. It's just basic. So it's still coming. That's fine. You can complain about it, but it's just something they haven't had a chance to work on yet.
Also, the other thing that Lazy Peon kind of commented on was the death penalty. Just because he's not an MMO player that's really played an MMO with a death penalty. He's a little bit younger than we are. So
suck it up. Get good.
Sure, that's how we want to talk to those people, but okay. But Joppa did mention that this is a hill that he wants to die on. That the death penalty is important. That it's important that You feel the danger of the world, and that's ever present. That it's always around you.
Yeah. But, with great risk comes great reward, right? So we need to find that balance, and I'm sure we're going to do that by the time it releases. But yeah, death penalty has to stay. And, all those people that said it needs to be out while we're testing, we're not necessarily in a mode of just straight test anymore. This isn't gray box, right? Like, this isn't where we're just trying to get numbers. Now we need to make sure the gameplay is good, and we need to have that death penalty in. You can't just go roaming around and, oh, look, there's an orc. I'm just going to go up and say hello to it. No. You need to take your time, con it, see if it's going to smell you or see you, and then run by and don't say hi to it. There should be some sort of penalty if you're going to be dumb. It's the dumb penalty.
Absolutely. Also, hot tip, keep a /loke button on your macro bar. So if
Smart.
you're getting beaten down and you know you're going to die, you hit that loke button and then you're good to go. Like, you could find your body then. Like, because if you don't know where you died, that's real bad.
5,
Draq, I'm so disappointed in you.
4,
Luckily, every week I dominate this list and just destroy Dymlos.
3,
I thought you would just tuck your head between,
No
your butt
way!
cheeks.
No, my list is
And
amazing.
It's not at all.
2,
Oh, already your list is the worst. Your list is the worst.
1.
This is the top 5 to rule them all. This is the one ring of top 5s. This is the top 5 rewinds. How many times can I say top 5?
Top five. This is the one that most of our people have been looking forward to. We've had so many suggestions of, you guys should do the top 5s. All right, here it is, people.
Here it is, on popular demand. Even.
Yeah. And a perfect way to do a year-end show, right? Like, let's go back. I mean, I feel like we should do top 5 of 2025 when we hit next year too. Like, this is
Absolutely.
This is the most consistent one that we'll do, alongside with Thanksgiving foods. All right, Draq. Well, let's see what we got here. Why don't you hit me with your top 5 or your number 5?
We should probably just change this to Draq's top 5 because all mine were
God.
winners throughout the year.
You're
I
so
don't-
unbelievable.
Like, maybe we should just move this, and you guys can have like a secondary top 5 that you guys do, and I will just have my own top 5 that
I can't wait to destroy each of these top 5s
will
that you've
be
listed.
at the top. And you guys are kind of like in a pyramid. So that'll be amazing.
Oh my goodness.
But
Get
for
outta here.
number 5, of course, the number 5 top 5 is ice cream flavors. Because I crushed it in ice cream flavors. We have vanilla, we have chocolate, and we have chocolate chip. And those are the 3 best flavors of ice cream, and everything else is get out.
First off, you forgot that the whole category is called top 5. So if you've only got 3 flavors in your top 5, well, you're missing some. So I don't even know how you thought you won
the
this
magic
list.
of my top 5 is that I incorporated those 3 flavors into 5 entries.
You're unbelievable. This was one of the worst lists you've ever had. And that's saying a lot because you've had some really terrible lists. Your palate is like of a 2-year-old.
I have been accused of that before. That is true.
Oh,
What
so
about your
unbelievable.
palate, Dymlos? How about your number 5?
My number 5, I decided to go with the top 5 cereals. And the reason that I went with this one is this is kind of the one that started it all as far as us debating. It started out where these top 5s were all good and friendly and, you learn something. But the cereals was the first time we really got into the debates.
It was kind of a throwdown.
Yeah, and I of course won, as I have
Yeah,
for
whatever.
the last 20 episodes. I've only lost one that I will fess up to, and that was the origami episode, and that's it. every other one, my list has been far superior for reasons that you can go back and listen to the top fives, and they're way better. So, but this was the first one where we really found the arguing niche, and that it was a successful part of the show. People really enjoyed it. They liked us kind of arguing, and it also is spurred on more stuff for the Patreons and letting them in and poo-pooing all over their lists. And so this was kind of developed this whole end of the show. And so that's why I put it as the number 5, is it really had an impact on the rewind as a whole.
People want the drama. They want the
They sure do. They sure do. Speaking of more drama, what's your top number 4 there, Draq?
Arcade games. I love the arcade
Good one.
games episode. I just love arcade games in general. I am an arcade kid. I grew up on arcade games and just super fun. And I know we didn't argue a ton on this one.
Very little argue about when we're all in agreement.
I mean, there was just so many good arcade games to have. So I just feel like this was a great one. So arcade games number 4.
Absolutely.
What about your number 4, Dymlos?
Number 4, I decided to throw out to our good friend, Man of Rohan. When we make these top 5 lists, we try to kind of cater them towards our guest if we have a guest, rather than just some random thing we're arguing about. And so since Man of Rohan is our music composer guy, creator of great bumpers and songs and everything, go check out his channel. Link in the description below if you remember, Draq. We did top 5 video game composers. And so this one, Draq had no idea. I know I couldn't pronounce any of the names, the Japanese names, but that's because I don't speak Japanese. But Draq just had no idea who any composer is. He even said the Pokemon anime for one of his. It wasn't even in the video game. So, like, there are times where Draq is not the expert of these lists, and you can clearly tell, and this was one of them. He just had no clue what he's doing in this category. But I appreciate you for being a good sport, trying to find 5 and going with it.
If there was one that I may have lost, maybe the jury is still out, maybe have lost, it might have been video game composers.
Well, I mean, we both lost to Man of Rohan, right?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that,
he destroyed us. But yeah, it was not my strongest category ever, for sure.
I'm not saying that Joppa's not a great music composer, but he's certainly not the number 1 greatest of all time.
Come on. Just like...
Oh, terrible, terrible. All right, Draq. Well, let's forgive you for that one. Forgive and forget in 2024.
Perfect.
What's number 3 for you?
The top 3 are like chef's kiss. Like,
True.
These 3 could really be in any order. But I put Thanksgiving side dishes as the third one. Mostly because you are so passionate about Thanksgiving.
I am.
Side dishes.
It's my favorite holiday. I couldn't not say things.
Like,
so many things.
Like, there was just like lines in the sand that you cannot cross with Dymlos and Thanksgiving side dishes.
It's true.
And it was just so much fun to mess with that. So Thanksgiving side dishes number 3.
That was a great one for sure. I do love Thanksgiving and I can't get enough of it. So no, it was good. And I think we all, again, I really couldn't argue much other than the cranberry sauce. That's the only thing that really, really sucks. Everything else is at best acceptable, or at worst acceptable, I should say. So yeah, no, that was a good one for us. And we'll revisit it again next year too. Maybe not side dishes, but I think maybe top 5 pies is probably the next one that will be. So keep that in the back of your
pies
head.
is good too.
Yeah,
I do
for
love
sure.
some
Or maybe
pie.
just desserts in general.
Yeah.
So we can have like pumpkin bars and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost as good as Thanksgiving side dishes is your number 3, which is also my number 2. So why don't you
this
tell
was
people about
such a
that?
good one. We had Benonai on, and he was such a great guest. He's a great listener of the show, and he came ready for this top 5. And, you know, we don't give people much time with it. So the fact that he like sat down with it and really just decided to troll us hard, like a hard troll for both of us. He just absolutely crushed this list. I don't think I've laughed harder in recording this rewind than this episode. And you can tell I left a good chunk of me just laughing out of control on there, but I did have to cut a bunch of it out. But Ben and I just crushed this list, and I think a lot of our Patreon members agreed with that as well. But his list was the best Halloween list. Things like cough drops, razor blades, and then of course the stupid candy corn. The fact that he put that on there just for us, knowing that it would get a rise out of us, was so beautiful, and I appreciate him for doing that for us. And it then spurred on the best part of the show, which is now Ben and I doing the community spotlight. I know we didn't have one today, but it's the holidays, so he gets some time off. But last week, he crushed it last week. He is the best part of the show. I don't care if we're funny or not, which we are, but his part of the show is the best. So thank you, Ben and I, for coming on, being a guest, crushing this list, and then becoming a part of the show and becoming the best part of the show. So I really appreciate Ben and I for all his help here.
I mean, that's how you really know when you crushed it, is when we incorporate you into the show itself.
It's true. We had to have him. We're
just like, Ben and I, you're our number one pick. Like,
yeah, there's no one better. And being able to put that much passion into a 2 to 3 minute video each week just speaks to how awesome of a human Ben and I actually is. And I know he wants us to keep that secret, but because he doesn't want people to know him. Go back and watch the episode if you listen to the interview. But he just is such an awesome human being. I'm so glad he's on Stormona with us. He's just a real gem that we've incorporated into the show now. So enjoy Community Spotlight in all of 2025.
Amazing. I also had Halloween candy. That was such a fun episode. So good. And we got to argue about stuff too. It was the perfect Chef's Kiss episode. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe next year, not only we'll do top fives, we should also maybe do top 5 guests. Like stack rank some guests.
That's a bad idea, because then we're going to get in trouble.
We're going
to offend someone. We can only do things that are not alive. And could have opinions about us.
Probably a great.
That's
plan.
like saying, let's rank our top 5 VR employees.
Ooh,
bad idea. Really, really bad idea.
We're already in trouble there. What about your number 2? How about
my number 2 is the thing that started it all, really. Like before we took over the Rewind, we decided to do a blog each week. And so this is where the top 5s came from. We wanted to incorporate what we were doing in the blog into the Rewind and make it our own, right? We wanted it different from what has been done in the past. And so we took this list directly from the blog. So if you go to our old website and take a look at that, you can see a bunch of top 5s we did in the past. But this one was just the best and really kind of I know that cereals was the first one that we really went to against each other on, but this gaming snacks, this is where it all began. The inside jokes that maybe people don't understand of Draq getting a hard time about his water obsession. This is where this came from. He listed his number 2 snack as water. And I'd like to mention that you named your number 5 snack as a fruit smoothie, which is also not a snack. So this is where it kind of all stemmed from. Did we do this first? No, we did top 5 DPS. The snacks didn't come till a little later. But
we tried to keep it serious to start with, and then we realized that was a bad plan.
Not necessarily a bad plan, but certainly not as entertaining as us either arguing or making fun of each other. So, but yeah, if you missed out on the gaming snacks one, go back, check out Draq's list on there. That's how we know he always loses, is because he put water as his number 2 snack.
First of all, I didn't lose that one.
You definitely lost that one.
The only one I might have lost was the video game composers. Second of all,
You lost that one too.
this was a sad entry into the internet universe because this started basically the having it being okay to just mercilessly mock me all the time for no reason. Like
Even the listeners now mock
even
you
the
for it.
listeners
It's
now
so good.
mock me.
So good.
I just feel like it's very unfair, that episode, and also you putting it at number 2. I feel attacked.
Good. I am attacking you here, Drag. This is me attacking you for putting water as a snack. Water's not a snack. It's a drink. If we had top 5 gaming drinks, I still wouldn't put water on here. I don't care how refreshing it is. It's water. It tastes like nothing. It tastes like mouth. I'm not going to do that. It's not
H2O, baby. I'm not
No.
going to re-argue the point I already won on that rewind. Okay, I'm not going to do that.
fine.
Well, can we move on to my number 1?
Yes, please. What's your number 1, Drag?
My number 1 is, of course, breakfast consumables, which is the greatest top 5 ever.
Turns
in the
out
history
it's
of top 5.
also my top 5. So
Yes,
my number 1
amazing.
and top 5. It was a great episode. I do agree with you that this was a standout, and it was a standout because we came together, Drac. Like, this was you and I
We united.
partnering up.
Yes. And we were like, you know what? These Patreons, they've gotten a little uppity in their britches. They've gotten a little too much ego
Yeah.
going on.
Yep.
They think they're just the bee's knees.
They think they can control our top 5
They think they
lists.
can tell us what to name our top 5 list on our podcast. Are you
Absolutely
kidding me right
not.
now?
Absolutely
No,
not.
And we put them down, like we spapped them down. We gave them the hand slap directly across the face, like it was a competition. And like they hit the floor hard, and I'm not apologizing for it.
Just a quick backstory, just in case you missed this episode. We decided that the category that week was going to be top 5 Pop-Tart flavors, and the Patreon instantly, within seconds of me posting it, Archbishops was like, "I'm not doing this," and then the snowball. Screech came in and said, "Nope, I'm not doing this either because I don't eat Pop-Tarts." At least that's a decent reason. Whereas Archbishops was like, "I just hate Pop-Tarts. I'm not listing this. Get out of here. You don't get to tell us." And then Zip came in literally 3 minutes later saying the same thing. "I'm not doing this because I don't like Pop-Tarts." So we then changed it. I don't even remember what the second thing is that we changed it to, or maybe we said
Yeah,
toaster.
We're trying to be nice, and then we were like altering it so it like could include whatever there. We did toaster
Something.
items or something like
Yeah.
that. We're trying to be nice,
And then
they
that
didn't
wasn't
like
enough.
that either.
That wasn't enough because they wanted other things. So we then made the list 4-sided breakfast consumables. That's how far we had to take this for our Patreon people. How dare you to be able to do the top 5 list that week. But I'm pretty sure it was our best top 5. I went a little overboard. If go listen to the episode, it's super funny. It seemed like I had an aneurysm at one point with some of these breakfast consumables because there's such bad lists from our Patreons. Our lists were great, Drac, of course, but
they were perfect.
yeah, but our Patreons, just absolute vomit of lists, and I let them have it, and it was pretty funny. And I think most people agree that was probably our best top 5.
All right. Well, what about our Patreons for now? What were their favorite top 5s of the year?
Well, let's by the magic of the internet, Drac, if you could pop that list up.
Better-do-do.
I love that sound effect. I reach for it every time. It's
You
so
know,
good.
I've worked very hard. I've spent hours honing it down.
It's so good. We need to put it on the soundboard, really.
See what I can do.
All right. Well, let's just run through these quick. I think a lot of them are going to be the same because the ones where we get a little spicier are the best ones. So let's see what we got here. So we got Archbishops, Thanksgiving side dish. We had that. Nintendo characters was one we didn't have. That was a good one.
That was a super fun one. I won that one, of course. So
Yep, that was an episode where we had Redbeard Flynn as the guest.
yeah.
And you
I'm
did
glad
not
you
win.
agree that I won.
You did not win.
You said yeah.
No, well, you're reading too much into that. The fact that you broke Redbeard's heart with that one means that you didn't win. The fact that you picked Fox McLeod as your favorite Nintendo character just because that's who you beat me in Smash Brothers with broke Redbeard's heart. And if you break his heart, then you're just a terrible human being, and that's why you lost.
I'm sorry, it had to be done, but that's how it goes.
Then we had Halloween candy, gaming snacks, and breakfast consumables number one. So all things that we had mentioned before. We only had 20 this year, so we picked up the rewind halfway through the year. We'll have 50 of them next year to pick through.
Next year's going to be so hard.
How am I going to come up with that many lists? Ugh, it's going to be miserable. So then Zip is next. Saturday morning cartoons. That was one we hadn't mentioned. That was a good one. We had all walks of life on this one. We had Old Ball Screech with his Transformers pick and Thundercats pick. We had 90s kids like me. I was born in the 80s, but grew up in the 90s. But things like Ninja Turtles and newer cartoons were in my list. And then things that never had heard of, like most of Draq's list, except he ended up with Garfield and Friends as number one, which is a great pick.
Amazing.
Moving on from there, we had Halloween candy, gaming snacks, breakfast consumables.
Wait a minute.
What?
You skipped pizza toppings.
Oh, I did. Sorry, number 4 was pizza toppings. You're right.
That was
like, another spicy one.
That was almost on my list. Like, I dominated pizza toppings so hard that you felt like you couldn't even, like, I had to talk you back into doing top fives after that week. Because you were like, I can't even compete with you anymore because of your amazing pizza toppings. And, these are the things that I deal with on a weekly basis. And so pizza toppings were huge.
Oh, fine. Whatever you think, Draq. Enjoy your 2024. I'll let you live in your own fantasy world.
What about Screech? What did he have?
A lot of the same stuff, which is, to be expected because they were the funniest. Gaming snacks, pizza toppings. I did take a blasting on pizza toppings because I do have a very eclectic palate when it comes to pizza toppings. Thanksgiving side dish, ice cream flavors. I really did enjoy that ice cream flavors episode with Militus. That was a really good one. And then breakfast consumables. So all 5 of the lists here today had breakfast consumables as number 1. So definitely go back, revisit that episode. It truly takes a special breed to be a part of our Patreon, is what this is saying. You have to enjoy just the rants that I will put up with your list. So if you like a little bit of the roasting humor, that's really what it is. So if you like being roasted, come join our Patreon. I will gladly do it each week for your terrible lists.
Before you leave, we've one final word. Before you've forgotten all that you've heard, there is a moment evergreen. Stay here a while and listen to me.
All right, Dymlos. This is another rewind in the books, and this is 2024 in the books. We have to say goodbye.
I'm fine with that.
Wow. Straight up. Good to go. All right.
Now, a lot of great things happened in 2024, but we'll always be able to look back and take a hard look at breakfast consumables.
All right. We'll see you in 2025, people. January 18th. Be there. Be square.
See you then.